Hello, my name is Manly. I'm new to Blender. I've tinkered with Blender over the past couple weeks, and I've come to quite like it. I'm a 2D compositor. I work in the film industry. The reason for making this tutorial is the show that we're currently working on requires a lot of clouds, and our effects guys have been pretty bogged down with the amount of shots that we have. So I kind of took it into my own hands to make some of my own clouds to fill in the gaps. In my research, I found a great tool that Blender offers called the Cloud Generator. This was created by a man named Nick Keyline. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. It's an add-on for Blender, and it's a great little tool. If you just need a quick little cloud or something, it's awesome. And yeah, it was a great starting point for me. And then I didn't find a whole lot of tutorials on the web on how to do clouds well. And so I wanted to create a tutorial for everybody to, anybody who did want to make clouds and kind of direct it a certain way. So yeah, this is what this tutorial will be about. So thanks, Nick, for starting me off there. Let's get started. What I'm aiming for is a shot of us up in the clouds a little bit. Maybe let's actually bring that browser back up and just kind of quickly look. Something kind of like this. So that'll be our goal. Go side view. Going to bring the camera and lock it. And then we're going to move it up. We're going to kind of treat this grid as our horizon here. Let's go with the top view. Yes, top view. And let's use this cube, the default cube, and make a container. It's going to be a volume container. So let's scale this guy up more in the X and then in the Y. Whoa. Maybe a little bit too much. Let's change this box to a wireframe so we can see through it. We don't need quite as much in the z-axis. Zoom up here. Let's expand it a little bit more. Make sure we get those guys out of the camera box there. We also need a plane. We will also scale this guy up so that he fills this container. Make sure he's inside the container as well, but not above the camera. Maybe like that. Inside still. Okay, let's lower the volume down, the volume box up a little bit. Cool. Now let's not forget naming, a little naming convention. So the cube we're gonna call volume. Volume box. Plane, we're going to call this the emitter. Cool beans. The emitter. So, as you can tell, emitter means we need a particle system. So let's add a particle system to the emitter, the plane. We'll call it cloud particles. Emission, let's try 80,000. Star and end frame will be 1. Emit from faces, yes, we want it to be random. Velocity, 0.7. Cool. Render, we don't want to render the emitter. We don't want anything on the particles, but we do want to see them, so we'll change the display type to point. That's cool. Awesome. Yay. We also need to turn off the gravity. Where is the gravity? So our particles don't react to that. Now select the volume box. In the shader tab, we need to change the material to volume. Call this volume shader. Call it cloud. Cloud shape. Cloud shader. Yeah. I'm decisive right now. The default settings are fine for now. Then we'll go to the texture tab. Change the default texture name to cloud texture. Wow. Texture. Type clouds. Now you can mess with this however you want, but I'm gonna leave it default. I'm gonna leave everything default. Make sure emission is checked on though. You need that. But the rest of the settings are fine. I'm gonna add another texture, new. I'm gonna call this cloud particles. I'm going to change the type to point density. Down in the point density, for the object, we want the emitter plane, and in there, we want our particles, our cloud particles. Come down, we want to turn on turbulence. Leave that default for now. Coordinates, we want to turn that to global. We also want the influence to be the density to be checked on, emission checked on, and RGB intensity checked on. One thing I forgot to do, we go back to our volume shader. We want to turn density down. My phone. Reason we want to do that is because if we were to render it right now with this density up, I mean, we can do it if we want. Just you can see what happens. It's going to be black. Why? Because it's rendering the volume as it is, and I guess our camera's kind of almost inside it, so it's you're not getting any kind of light, and our light is just a little point light, so it's probably not going to reach us anyways. So what's happening here is when we turn the density down, you're not going to see it, and then because we have filled the box volume with this texture, what's going to happen is when these particles float around in here, wherever these particles are, you're going to see the volume texture cloud. And anywhere there's not particles, you're not going to see anything. So yeah, first things first, where's that light? Okay, take the light. We want the light to be a sunlight. Rotate it a little bit so we get a little bit of interesting light to it. Yes, let's put a little bit of a gold tint to it. Render settings, I like to render RGB. Shading, we want to turn the alpha from sky to transparent. Alright, last thing we want to do is we want to add a force to move these particles around. We'll start with the turbulence. We'll go over to the forces tab here. Turn strength to, let's try 7. Size, we'll try 2.3. Totally making these up. And then just some kind of a little bit of noise. Make sure global is checked as well. Excuse me. Let's lift it up out of here so we can select it easily if we need to later. Yes. I can't remember if I've forgotten anything. So let's just play these particles a little bit. Cool. Let's see if I can hear. Ooh, that might be. We might have to lift the camera. Let's try rendering that and see what we get. All right, we get some crappy looking clouds. Yeah. Well, let's tinker with this a little bit, shall we? So let's. I want to fix this camera first. Feels really weird. Oh, they just raised too fast. Okay, so let's change how fast they fly up. So in the emitter tab, we'll go to the particles and change the normals. Let's put that to 0.3. See how that looks. Much better. And good. Okay, so the clouds are pretty see-through. So the first thing you gotta change, or we gotta change, is in our volume shader, scatter. What scatter does is it allows, it tells you how much sun or light can penetrate through the clouds. So the lower the number, the more the light can penetrate. The higher, the less. So let's put that up to 2. The density, well, that's kind of self-explanatory, how dense the volume is. We'll put that up a little bit. 1.5 is good. for now. Then well, let's just render that and see how much of a difference that makes. So a little bit. It's thicker. I think that sun is way too yellow. So let's back that off a little bit.